Now, I made a short video recently about how Arsenal are probably not going to be signing anyone in January because of FFP, and there's not too many good strikers out there, because I think we all know a striker is what we need. But to my surprise, yesterday a huge bit of news came out that Arsenal are in intensive talks with Everton CDM Amadou Onana, and this is a really curious move by Arsenal, in my opinion. Onana is an elite player, 6'5", 22 years old, a really good defensive midfielder. Not so good on the pass in front and score in front, but on the defensive end, he is very good. He is very physical, he is strong, and he is a good player. And if we signed him, I think he would be a really good improvement to the team. He'd help out in the Thomas Partey role. He'd allow Declan Rice to play further up in the midfield, which is, if you guys know, where I prefer him to be playing. But given the state of the team, given the state of our goals and our left back position, is Onana what we need? Or are Arsenal just making kind of a panic buy and trying to just buy anyone that will improve the team in any way, shape or form? Or is this a genuinely good move that can help us push for the title? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Gunner Central here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, like I said, I was expecting Arsenal to do nothing in January. Arteta has said several times that we may not do anything in January because of FFP, or because there's no suitable players, or because we have to be very cautious with who we bring in. I get that. So I was low-key expecting to see no movement in January, unless maybe we sell Eddie Nketiah or whatever the case is. Unless we get sales on, I was expecting no moves. But with no sales, for us to have intensive talks with a 22-year-old CDM in the Premier League that is a fairly good CDM, it really caught me by surprise, especially with the position. Again, Onana is a really good player. He's 6'5", he is strong, he's fairly quick, 22 years old, but he's not the type of player I was expecting us to go for right now in our situation. Again, a striker and a left back is what everyone has been asking for, and Onana definitely can't play striker, and left back probably not as well. So why are we going for him? Well, I actually don't mind the move. I know it sounds very hypocritical of me considering how many videos I've asked and I've pleaded for strikers and left backs, but I don't mind a move, and I'll explain why. Like I said, Onana is really good. He's proven very good for Everton. He's already played 16 games in the Premier League this season. He's looked very good when he does play, and I really like the idea of him, Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard in the midfield, with Kai Havertz starting certain games or coming off the bench. And we don't know what will happen with Partey. We'll talk about that later in the video. I like the idea of Declan Rice and Onana in the midfield. Us coming off this 2-0 loss to Liverpool, a lot of people are drawing negative after negative from it, and you can't help but agree with them. But a huge positive was that Jorginho and Declan Rice in that midfield with Odegaard looked very solid, looked very good, with Jorginho sitting back sometimes when Rice presses and vice versa. So this was making me think Onana might be a really good shout. Now, we saw what happened when Partey, Odegaard and Declan Rice started together. Elite midfield, worked really well together. The only problem I've always said with Partey is, as much as I love watching him play, he's a really good player for us, he's just so injury prone. So what if we go get in a 22-year-old who has a decent injury record, who is physically strong and proves to be a solid player game in and game out? If we go put him next to someone like Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard in the midfield, I really like that idea. Yes, a lot of people might think it's too conservative if we play Declan Rice and Onana together, but I think what will happen is that Declan Rice will be a little more advanced than he usually is. He'll be kind of your number 8, and like I've said before, for me, Declan Rice's best position is that number 8, when he doesn't have to worry as much about sitting in front of the defensive line, so you can let Onana do that. Also, Declan Rice is a better passer of the ball and a better shooter of the ball, so you can let Onana drag back and sit behind Declan Rice and just control the midfield. I think Rice and Onana could be a really dynamic duo, defensively and attacking wise. And again, I know everyone, including me, has been crying for a striker and a left back, but right now the striker market is pretty dry, and Juventus now apparently aren't willing to sell Vlahovic. Tony doesn't look like he's going to be coming, so we don't really have too many strikers to go for. The left back position, I agree, should be prioritized right now, but the fact that this Onana transfer is kind of opening up and it's looking very likely for us, I'm really starting to get behind it. Again, I know the pushback on Onana joining Arsenal is going to be hectic, and I kind of get it, but I just have a good feeling about this transfer. Now, how much are we actually willing to spend on Onana? Well, that's another discussion. Everton could probably use the money, but I don't want to go overspend for Onana. I just have no doubt that Onana will improve the squad. He'll improve the way we play. He'll improve the depth in the midfield, because right now it's pretty bleak with Partey always being out and Jorginho not being the Jorginho of old. So I do think Onana is going to not only improve our midfield, but he's going to strengthen the depth, and he may actually become a starter alongside Rice and Odegaard. So I think we can all agree that there's no doubt that Onana will definitely improve the squad. But now what happens with Partey? What do we do with Thomas Partey if we get Amadou Onana in? We already have Jorginho, we have Declan Rice, we have Elneny, and then Partey. There are just so many minutes to go around, and what do we do with the guys that aren't playing? Well, I think we keep Elneny to the end of the season. I think he's more of a guy for the dressing room, so I have no problem with that. He's not on a big wage. He seems like a happy-go-lucky guy, so I think we keep Elneny around at least until the summer. Jorginho, I think we keep him. He brings good leadership. He's been the captain for us before. He plays decent games when he does get to start, so I don't mind Jorginho. Declan Rice, obviously, he's going to stay. Obviously, we bring Onana in. But what does that mean for Partey? Well, again, this is what I've been saying, is that if we have to sell Partey, now would probably be the best time. Listen, I love Thomas Partey. I've said it in a previous video why I think Partey should go, but I love him. I said it in that video that I really think he's a good player, probably one of our best players when he's fit, but he's not fit enough, and that is the problem. We can get Onana in, and Onana's not going to be near Thomas Partey's level right now anyway, but he could provide a really good CDM role and allow Declan Rice to be a little more attacking. I think Onana, what he's going to do is he's going to come and he's going to allow us to control the game even more. I mean, we're already good at controlling the game and controlling the ball, but with Onana, I just think we have extra security in the midfield, and it's going to allow us to control the game, control the ball, control the tempo, which is so important in winning Premier League games. He's also going to provide a very good physical specimen to have in both boxes, whether it's defending corners, attacking corners, defending free kicks, whatever it is. He's going to be a really good 6'5" guy, and we're having a fairly big team. I mean, you look at it: Saliba, Gabriel, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Amadou Onana. We rarely get in these tall, strong players that have a good physical profile, and I like it, especially when you have shorter guys like Jesus, Martinelli, and so on. But again, I just think if we sign Onana, to me, that is kind of then the end for Partey, because where does Partey play? I've seen some people over Twitter saying that, well, then Partey could just come off the bench and not have the minutes of a starter, which will help his injury record, and I can see that, but Thomas Partey is on such a big wage that him sitting on the bench for 80% of games, it's just not going to work. It's not going to help the team. It's not going to help FFP. I don't know. I think if we get in Onana, I think that's pretty much the end for Partey. As much as I would like to keep Partey, if this was a FIFA game, I'm keeping Partey. But realistically, in the real world, does Partey want to come off the bench every game? Is his wage too big to be a bench player? These are things you have to consider. It's not just like FIFA where you're like, oh, well, he can just be a good squad player. No, it doesn't work like that. Look at Elneny, look at Jorginho. They are squad players and their wages aren't too big. They're willing to be squad players. I don't know if Thomas Partey will. But back to Onana, I get the pushback. I get people wanting strikers. I get people saying that Onana can't score any goals. I mean, he scored 1 goal in 16 games this season. He's horrible with penalties. So I get it. But I'm kind of behind this move. If the striker market is as dry as it is reported and as it looks, and the left back role, there's no really real left back we're liking in the market, then I don't mind us going for another CDM that is strong, can help control the game, and allow Declan Rice to play further upfield next to Martin Odegaard. It's going to only improve the physicality in our midfield. It's going to make it much harder for teams to run through us if Onana is there. So I know he's not a striker. I know he's not clinical in front of goal. I know all of this, and I get it. I get it. I've been crying for a striker, but I can still get behind signing Amadou Onana. But yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about this link? Is he actually going to be coming to Arsenal? Is he just a random rumor? And if we do sign him, how do you guys feel about the transfer? Let me know all that in the comments below. Please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.